Imagine dropping a person into a forest. No phone, no map, no compass. Most people today would be lost in 20 minutes. But for almost all of human history, that same forest was just Tuesday. People walked hundreds of miles and came home again. Sailors crossed open ocean with no land in sight for weeks and still found an island the size of a parking lot. They weren't guessing. They were using a sense most of us don't even know we have. And it's disappearing. Not because our brains changed, because we stopped using them. Start with the ocean. Long before satellites, Polynesian navigators crossed thousands of miles of open Pacific. No instruments, no charts. They used something called a star compass, a mental map of the horizon, split into 32 points, each one tied to where a specific star rises or sets. At sunset, they'd pick a star and sail toward it. When it climbed too high to trust, they'd already memorized the next one in line. All night, star after star, a relay race across the sky. But stars only work when the sky is clear, so they had a backup sense in their bodies. Ocean swells move in steady, predictable patterns. A trained navigator could lie down in the hull of the canoe and feel the rhythm of the waves through the wood. Not look at them, feel them. Each swell pattern had a direction baked into it. Some navigators could sense an island before they ever saw it, because land bends waves, and a bent wave feels different from an open one. They were reading the ocean like Braille. Now go north, very far north. Inuit travelers crossed featureless Arctic terrain in whiteout conditions, where the ground and the sky are the exact same color. No landmarks, no sun, half the year, so they read the snow. Wind builds long, tongue-shaped ridges in the snowpack, always pointing the same way, because the dominant wind always blows from the same direction. These ridges have a name, Ukalurait. To someone who never learned to see them, they're just texture. To an Inuit hunter, they're a compass carved into the ground, readable by touch in a blizzard, when you can't see your own hand. Different continent, different climate, same underlying skill. Read the environment closely enough, and it tells you exactly where you are. Here's the part that should stop you. Your brain already has a GPS built into it, literally. In 1971, a scientist found special cells in the hippocampus that fire only when you're in one specific spot, like a dot lighting up on an internal map. Decades later, researchers found a second kind of cell, one that lays an invisible grid over the space around you, tracking every step as you move through it. Together, they won a Nobel Prize for it in 2014. Scientists just call it, plainly, the brain's inner GPS. Every person alive has this system. It's not something ancient navigators had and we lost. It's something we all still carry, right now, inside our skulls. The difference is whether anyone ever asks it to work. And this wasn't a gift some people were born with. It was trained, like a muscle. And muscles that don't get used don't just sit there waiting. They shrink. In the year 2000, scientists scanned the brains of London's taxi drivers. To get licensed, they have to memorize 25,000 streets. No GPS allowed, just memory. The scan found something strange. A part of their brain called the hippocampus, the part responsible for building mental maps, was physically larger than in other people. And the longer someone had been driving, the bigger it was. Their brain didn't just use the skill, it grew new capacity for it. So what happens when you stop practicing? Researchers at McGill University tracked regular drivers over several years, some who relied on GPS constantly, and some who mostly navigated on their own. The heavy GPS users showed a measurable decline in that same hippocampal dependent memory system, less ability to build a mental map, fewer landmarks even noticed, let alone remembered. Not because anything was wrong with them, because the skill went quiet from disuse. Think about what that means. A Polynesian navigator's brain and a modern commuter's brain start out with the same basic hardware, the same place cells, the same grid cells, the same inner GPS wired in from birth. One spent a lifetime feeding it data, stars, waves, wind, snow, until it could find a speck of land in an empty ocean. The other outsourced that job to a blue dot on a screen, and the same capacity for it began to fade, cell by cell, from lack of use. Nothing was lost forever. The hippocampus doesn't disappear. It just stops being asked to work, which means the ability that once got entire civilizations across oceans and deserts and ice sheets isn't gone. It's just sitting there, unused, waiting for a question nobody asks it anymore. Where am I? Which way is home? Your ancestors answered that question with the sky, the sea, and the snow. You could still learn to. You just have to put the phone down long enough to try.